Well, good morning and happy Friday, my crafty friends. First, I would just like to say Happy Veterans Day to all of the veterans, and I just want to thank them for all of their service to our country. My father was a veteran. Well, my father is a veteran. I'm so sorry. And so was my uncle. Um, I'm thankful for what they did because I know it from being around them and growing up, I know it takes a lot to leave your family and not knowing that you may or may not come back and to go and fight for the country. But I just want to thank them for for their service. I also want to thank all of the other veterans for their service. And if you have family members in your family, or if you yourself was a veteran, thank you so much for all your service. And so I also just want to send out a prayer of protection for everyone that's in the path of Nicole because from what I've been seeing on the news here in Houston, Texas, Nicole has been very busy in the Florida coastline. So I just ask that the Lord wrapped his armor protection around all of the people, the Floridians that's in the path of Hurricane Nicole. But today I just wanted to come with you and share with you a card that I created for a swap. Now, some of you may say, well, what is a card? What is a swap? So basically what a swap is where a bunch of people, a bunch of different crafters get together and they create a certain amount of cards and then they swap them out. And so, they show you, in other words, you're inspiring, you're creating, and you're sharing your love of crafting. So I'm just going to share mine. And so this was the card that I created. I created a card called, I created this card and I used the stamp set Lovely and Lasting. Well, it's actually a bundle. And let me see if I can get you a better view of that. Okay, Lovely Lasting. I used this stamp set. But like I said, it comes with a bundle. And so it came with this little punch. So, and I used this bundle to create this card. But, every year, Stampin' Up! Gives you some really new end colors. Every 2 years, Stampin' Up! Gives you some really new super cute end colors. And so, for the 2022-2024 end colors, I used the Starry Sky for this one. Now, for some strange reason, it doesn't look that blue as the blue in my hand. And I don't know if that's my camera, but I got a new device once I retired, and so I'm learning how to use it. So I'm hoping that I eventually figure out how to make my colors the true blue color. But this was the card that I created, and so not only because the card base was this Starry Sky, I also put a inside layer and stamped the same the flower image on the inside. And I also created an envelope to go with this. But with the swap, all you had to do was just create the card. You really didn't have to send in put an envelope with it. But what I want to do is show you just how simple and quick it was to create this card, and to let you know that all of these supplies and all of the measurements will be below this video, and you can get all of these items in my online store. So let's begin. So like I said, I wanted to use the new end colors. And so the Tahitian Tide, let me see. Oh wow, you can barely see that. So let me see if I can kind of fix this up some. And bring it in. Oh, that doesn't look that good, does it? Okay, so let's see if we can do it like this. Let's see if that's better. Okay, so the Tahitian Tide is one of the new ink colors. The stamp set Tahitian Tide, that's one of the new ink colors. And so that's the color that I'm going to use for the card that I'm going to create now to show you how I created this card right here. The blue, and with this one I use the Starry Sky. Okay, so let me see if I can bring that in a little bit better. And see, that's the true blue right there. You see that? That's like a dark navy blue, but it's actually called Starry Sky. So that's the real blue. I'm not exactly sure why it's not showing that. But let me just kind of bring this down some so that you can get a, I don't want it to be too close. But this is the card that I created. And this is the ink color that we're going to be using. We're going to be using the Tahitian Tide stamping, classic stamp pad. I'm using Tahitian Tide cardstock and a piece of the Tahitian Tide DSP. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is score my card. Fold my card. And so you can either fold it with the bone folder if you have one. If you don't have a bone folder, then that's okay, because you can, you can always just kind of fold it in half like that. And I basically just start like in the middle, and you can do it with your finger like that. But the only thing about that, you don't always get that crisp fold, I'm sorry. And so I just use a bone folder to make the fold a little bit more crisp. Okay, so that's my card base, and I've already did my pre-cutting, but like I said, I have all the measurements and all the supplies used to create this card. So the first thing I did after I've folded my card base, I'm going to do my stamping. So this is for my inside layer, and this is for this layer right here. Okay, and then I also have a little piece of cardstock that I'm going to use to make the label, the sentiment label. Okay, so let me open up my stamp pad. So I hope that everybody is having a really good Friday. Like I said, I know that the weather is getting really, really bad in some areas. Now we're supposed to, right now it's like 60 something, but believe it or not, they're saying tomorrow we're going to be in the 40s. So, but you know, that's one thing about Houston weather. Oh my goodness. It changes. 1 minute it could be in the 80s, and then in the next minute it could be down in the 40s. And I've lived here all my life, and so people always say, well, are you used to that? And I'm thinking, yeah, after a point in time, you really do get used to it. You don't have no other choice. You just have to know how to make sure that you're dressed correctly to not get a cold or get sick or anything. Alrighty, so here's my stamp set. Okay, so I'm going to be using this stamp for the label, and then I'm using the flower stamp. This particular stamp right here, I'm going to be using that for the inside label, and then for my focal point label, for the focal layer. Okay, so let me stamp a little ink on it. And I have to admit, I really like all of these colors, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I guess Tahitian Tide do put you in the mind of being at the beach and seeing the waves and all, just put you in the mind of vacationing somewhere where it's water. Okay, so I'm gonna put this, I'm just gonna kind of move this to the side, move that, then I'm gonna put this right here, and I'm just gonna put that piece about right there. Now that looks good. Looks really good. Okay, so I'm gonna set that to the side and let it dry, because my pad is just a little, my ink pad is just a little juicy, and it's probably because it's a new pad and I've used it, but probably haven't used it enough. Okay, so for this, for the flower, for my inside label, I just want it right there. So I'm going to use like a little extra piece of grid paper and kind of just step my flower off, but I don't want to mess up my mat. So what I'm going to do is turn this like this, and like I said, I'm gonna move that to the side. I'm just gonna turn this way, and you'll see I'm just putting my flower like right in this corner like that, but I'm making sure that I get that corner spot. That's that piece. And then the next bit of stamping is going to be the piece, our sentiment. And so placing this stamp set. So I'm moving this to the side. But see, this right here is going to be for our sentiment. Okay. Get that out of the way. And I'm just going to put that piece, I'm going to stamp that right there. Now that's nice. Okay, and so on here I use Thinking of You, but this has so many wonderful sentiments on it. It has thank you, happy birthday, best of luck. So you know, I'm thinking I may use this one, the thank you. Switch it up a little bit. Sentiment on here. Get me a little ink. Okay. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Better get a little bit more. Let me see what it looks like first before. Oh, okay. Get a little bit more. When you do a sentiment, you need to always kind of test it on your grid paper before you actually place it, use it on your finished product. Get a little bit more. And I'm just going to bring this like right in the middle of here like this. Okay. Yeah. I need to, there's a demonstrator. I remember her saying it's something that she does in particular for her ink pads to not have them have that little juicy after look, and I just can't remember what she said. Oh, I need to leave this open because as I said, I was gonna decorate my envelope. So I'm gonna sit that to the side. So with the envelope, I decided that I want to use that same large floral image, but I'm just going to get just a little bit of it. Okay. And I'm just going to put just this little flower right here on the very, very edge. Just like this. Okay. I'm going to set all that to the side. So now I'm going to close up this ink and set it to the side so we don't have any accidents with ink. Okay, so I'm going to move this out the way. And so now what's all left to do, the only thing is left to do is put my card together. And so I don't know what happened, what made me start liking, but you know, when I used to do cards, I used to love using the stamping seal or the little running adhesive. But for some strange reason, I am totally in love with using the multi-liquid glue. And I think it's because when you use it, it's user-friendly. And what I mean by that, you can place your piece right here, but you can still move it around before it's completely sealed down. So that's one of the things that I love about it. So the first piece I'm going to put is put a little ink on here, and I was trying to decide which side to use, But on this one, I use a totally different piece of designer series paper. So I'm trying to decide whether I should use this print or if I should use this one. And I'm thinking it's probably going to be this one, because I don't want nothing to take away from that flower. So I think I'm going to use, this will be my side that I glue. So let me get a little of this, my multi-purpose glue. And I'm going to put this piece right here. Bring it over. Okay. There we are. Make sure it sticks really well. Just use my bone fold as like my extra fingers for now. Alrighty. That's that piece. Now, for this piece right here, just gonna bring it in about right there. So I'm gonna put some of that same multi-purpose glue on it. You don't have to, I don't want it to kind of seep through the sides, so I'm gonna let that be enough. Then I'm just going to bring this piece about right like that. And see, I can use my designer series piece as my guide for measuring it, so that they'll be the same, you know, the same. I'm getting them in the same spot. Okay, so that's those two pieces. Then I'm going to open the inside of my card, and I'm going to get a little bit more of this. Uh-oh. Okay. Had a little runoff on the end there. But you know what? I can fix that. For the simple fact, my little mats are kind of laminated, so to speak. Okay. Now, and I'm going to turn this, because I always like to kind of do it this way, and it kind of helps. Okay, so I'm just going to place my inside layer right in here like this. And before it sticks, I just need to kind of move it. And see, one thing about the liquid glue, it makes it easy for it to kind of, you can shift it around, excuse me, you can shift it around before it gets set completely in place. Okay, and so that's that piece. Now, I need to punch out my sentiment. Being a, I am absolutely a punch counter girl, so I love all of the bundles that comes with the punch, because it just makes it so much easier when it comes to crafting. I didn't punch that one quite the way I wanted, so that's why I always try to make sure I have a big long piece of this, just in case, because I don't have enough white trim around the side of it. So let me do this one more time. So I'm going to do another border. I'm just going to put it on the opposite end. Okay. And I'm going to do another thank you in the center. Okay. Now, let's see if I can get a better, punch out a better label. Sentiment label. How's that? Because I wanted to have the even white edges around it. Now, if you don't have a punch, but you still decide to get this, you can always just take your time and fussy cut your label. But take my word for it, punching it out makes it so much easier. That's the label I was trying to get. I'm gonna sit this to the side because, believe it or not, I don't never believe in throwing away sentiments, because if nothing else and I fussy cut it, then I can always put another piece behind it and still use that same one. All right, so I want this here to pop up, because see how I had it on the other card? It's like at the very bottom of the leaf, so I want to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to get some dimensionals, and I want it to have to stand out really good, so I'm going to put 4 dimensionals on there. Peel off my tapes. And then I'm just going to sit this piece, the sentiment label, right there. And then the only thing left to do now is to give this card just a tiny little bling. And I'm going to use some of these clear gems. Now I can use my fingers to take these off, but you know, Stampin' Up has this awesome tool called Take Your Pick tool, and I love it. I'm spoiled behind it, to be honest with you. I am truly spoiled behind this Take Your Pick tool. So let's see. I'm going to grab one of these little small ones and put it right there. And get another one and put it right there. And that brings a little bling into my card. Okay, so I'm through with that piece. And set this to the side. So here's this card. Here's my Tahitian Tide card. Okay. And then here's my Starry Sky. Now I have to admit, the Tahitian Tide is cute, but I will admit that the Starry Sky is my favorite. And I don't know if it's because maybe after the ink dries some more, that this will kind of grow me. But I just wanted to share with you. It really wasn't hard to create these cards. On days when it's raining, or on me and my husband always have something called Friday night at the movies. And sometimes at Friday night at the movies, believe it or not, I'm always cutting my inside layer for my cards. And so I always try to make sure I have these on hand. Now these cases are just old thinly dyes cases that the thinly dyes came in, and I have them on a magnet sheet. And so what I did with the cases, I kept them. And so what I do is I always have like cut up pieces. So, and I use my label maker, and I made my little my edge, so I know what size it is. And so as long as I have these on hand, when I get ready to create something, I just grab something out there, and they already did. And I did the same thing for the 4" by 5 1/4, and this was the 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I use them a lot, so I always try to make sure I have plenty of these on hand. Okay, well, thank you so much. I hope that you will enjoy this little short video, because like I said, it's not a big long video, but these are my 2 cards that I created. And all of the measurements, all of the supplies I used will be below this video, and a link to my store if you want to purchase some of these. But thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Veterans Day, and I hope, like I said, if you're in the path of Nicole, I just pray that the Lord keep you and your family safe. And you enjoy the rest of this fantastic Friday and have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.